Hello and welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by the Daryl Davis Travel Agency. Where do you want to go, man? Springfield, Tampa, Canada? I bet you do, but do you know how to get there? Daryl Davis Travel Agency bets that you don't and is also banking their entire life savings, including their Roth IRA, on the fact that you're literally too damn lazy to Google how to get there and then also research how much it would cost to find a safe place to sleep. Watch as internet-savvy magicians type away on keyboards, possibly wireless ones, to locate information that you could probably find if you enter the right keywords into a search engine. Be prepared, as they will print, not email, a whole list of hotels for you to stay at along with prices. Feel confused as they tell you there's no real savings with them. There's actually an additional fee because they did all the work for you. It's a convenience charge, and yeah, it's non-refundable. They don't care if you threaten to leave a bad review of them online because they're also banking on the fact that you don't know how to do that since you came to them in the first place. Head over to DarylDavisTravelAgency.com. Oh wait, you probably don't know how to do that, do you? Send a letter with your phone number to P.O. Box 345, Jersey City, New Jersey 07097, and Daryl or one of his cousins will probably call you. Tell him that Mind Gap sent you and he'll probably say something real sarcastic to you in a nice Jersey accent. This week's episode is brought to you by Elephant and Castle, located at 185 North Wabash and 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois. Look, I know you're looking for that perfect English pub experience so you can grab some incredible drinks and tasty food. Elephant and Castle has you covered. They have excellent daily drink specials, happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and some delicious-ass food for you to chew on while you watch some fucking sports. Come on down to Elephant and Castle at 185 North Wabash or 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois, and tell them that Mind Gap Podcast sent you. On this episode, Justin and I battle a fly in the room while discussing the new Star Wars trailers that came out during Disney's D23 conference. We chat about The Mandalorian as well as Rise of the Skywalker. I give Justin some story ideas that my brother and I came up with that would vastly improve Rise of the Skywalker, and also posit an interesting debate question. Are the Star Wars prequels better than the new trilogy? Strap in your seat, prep your droids, and get ready for light speed as we warp into episode 211 of Mind Gap Podcast. Mind Gap Podcast.
So do you think that it got a copyright claim because of the content?
I think it got a copyright claim because of Google's algorithm.
I'm just saying, do you think, my guess is that the people who put that movie out, and we're just going to leave it at that, are more sensitive to people critiquing their movie.
When I think of the trailers we've done on that so far, they've been a bunch of who gives a fuck movies.
Yeah, but not this one, man.
This one, no. This is Fox.
Right.
Fox doesn't have much to play with anymore.
From the person who stars in This Is Us.
From the man who stars in... From Luke Cage.
From the Luke Cage people.
From Topher Grace.
I don't think you understand how movie trailers work, Chuck.
I think I do.
It's not who's in it. It's the people who brought... So Fox would be the people who brought this to you.
Okay, but the person I'm watching isn't Fox. It's Topher Grace.
I understand that, but...
AKA Venom.
Right, exactly. Best known for his role as Venom in 2007's, Spider-Man 3. Mm-hmm. I think it was 2007.
I don't know. Check's out. The check is out. Bitches.
Spider-Man 3.
Oh! Did you nail it?
2007!
See, it made sense to me because I was still at the Essex. I remember seeing a trailer for it going, God, that movie looks awesome. And then everyone just going down the shitter. And to think a year later we got Iron Man and The Dark Knight.
So here's the thing. I don't want to go too far down this road this week, but we've already discussed it. But Tom Holland did come out now that talks have completely disintegrated between Disney and Sony. And Tom Holland said, this is going to be
different.
It's going to be something very special, says Tom Holland. Could you think of a more PC response to give than that?
That, and I saw he's like, look, guys, it's going to be great, and it's going to be different.
Right. It's like, well, we know it's going to be different.
Oh, we know it's going to be different.
We're working on Sony already working on a, quote, very different Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, it has to be.
Oh, boy.
It has to be some different.
Yeah. Is this a quote from Holland? There's definitely more to come. We sat down with some of our creatives. We pitched Spider-Man 3, which is going to be something very special. It's going to be something very different. I'm just so grateful that Marvel changed my life and allowed my dreams to come true, and Sony allowing me to continue living my dream. It's a crazy week, and it's never been done before, so we'll see how it goes, and it'll be as amazing as fun. Look, I love Tom Holland.
I want to thank Marvel for making my dreams come true, and I want to thank Sony for allowing me to live out the remainder of my contract.
Exactly.
Let's get this done.
I spent a solid week crying into a pillow about this. And now my PR person says that I need to come out and say the following words. So here's what I'm going to say. There's definitely more to come. We sat down with some of our creatives. We pitched Spider-Man 3. You just know that again, I love Tom Holland, and I'm sure he's a really nice person, and I think he's a great actor, and I think he's fun and just whatever. I can't imagine he believes what he's saying.
Oh, of course
I just
not.
can't imagine.
You just can't go out there and be like, fuck this. You can't do that.
Well, you could.
Yeah, but, it's something where you have to be, gracious and everything like that. And who knows? Maybe we'll be surprised, right?
Yeah.
Crazier things have happened.
Sure, they have.
I think the odds are stacked against him, as we talked about last week.
Absolutely.
But, here's to hoping.
Here's to keeping a hope alive, I suppose.
Yeah.
The article that we posted on Twitter that posited the potential for Disney to just buy Sony.
Yeah.
Did you read that?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think of it?
Do
you think they could do? Because again, we talked about. Oh, I know we talked about that. That's right. We talked about that the other day when you were downtown.
Yeah.
We, Disney's about what 3 times or so bigger than as far as
their market cap.
Their market cap.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think they would? Do you think that's something that they would legitimately pursue?
The article basically posited that Disney could buy sections of Sony, especially like the technology to basically get like PlayStation and stuff like that, and in the process also nab Spider-Man, which isn't a bad idea.
Well, the thing is,
for the
especially
sake of getting their stuff onto the PlayStation platform.
Right. Well, and if they've got the Disney Plus thing that they're launching, like how cool would it be to have a dedicated set of things, Sony smart TVs, PlayStations, things like that, where it's just like, if you get this, you bundle that would really drive those
what
sales.
Netflix has done with a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
So,
it's
not out. Aside from them being like, we'll pay you $8 billion just for Spider-Man. Like I could see them talking just like that. And then also, this would make sense too. Like if they want to do that, it'd be a lot all at one time though. I'd be like,
with the Fox acquisition,
God, with everything, it'd just be like, dude, you guys gotta relax. You
guys you're outspending yourselves.
Yeah. You got to take it back a sec. So, speaking of Disney,
this is gonna bug the hell out of me. It's not even.
What's that?
This.
Oh, why? What's going on?
It's just.
Justin is currently pulling the underwear out of his butt crack. Apparently, it's been bothering him all day, and he's worried.
There's poop on it.
Okay, well, there you go. We live dangerously.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, welcome back.
Now it's uncentered the other way. Whatever.
Well, look.
If you're watching the Twitch stream,
you just pull it out of your ass. There's nothing about it being centered, man.
You gotta have centered underwear, man.
No, you don't.
If it's off center on the crack, it does not feel right.
Off-centered socks is a different discussion altogether.
How is off-centered socks any worse than off-centered underwear?
Well, here's the thing: you get that off a little bit, and now your toes feel weird in your socks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what about your butt crack and your giblets?
It's fine. They're always off-center.
I disagree.
My left ball's over here. My right ball's over here. They're not symmetrical.
My left ball's in my jacket pocket.
Right
right ball's at home right now.
Yeah, right? Shit.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
Talk about off center.
Am I right?
Oh, boy.
Hey.
Jared, no one asked you. He said I'm with Doug. No one asked you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Disney.
Speaking of Disney, Disney released a couple of trailers recently. One, Star Wars related. So if you're a Star Wars nerd, we're going to be talking about this to the Sam Cooks of the world who want to keep their ears and eyes shut until episode 9, you're probably going to want to avoid this because we're gonna get into it.
We're gonna dive in real deep.
Yeah. So first thing, the Mandalorian trailer was released, and I got to say, I'm fucking pumped.
See, okay, I'm glad you are.
Mm-hmm. Tell me why you're not.
What else? No, I guess I didn't understand. I thought for some reason I had missed a giant section of like this was because I know people have been talking. You would have been talking about it. I've read articles. People have been like, the Mandalorian's coming out. This is going to be amazing, Mandalorian. And I have no idea. I was like, I don't know what that is. I feel like I missed a giant announcement about what this was, or I should have my nerd card revoked because I was like, sure, okay, the Mandalorian. It's another Star Wars fucking story. Don't we have enough of these?
Your nerd card will never be revoked.
Okay.
All right. We don't do that here.
Oh,
we
that's how
punch
this
you in the face emotionally, but we never revoke cards. I remember they announced this and I was not excited. They're like, oh, but Jon Favreau's attached and he's going to be directing and all that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But it's just like, I'm concerned just because of most stuff that's come out recently with Star Wars. I'm just not that pumped about it. And I was like, I need to see a trailer. I saw the teaser. I'm like, okay, you got my interest. And then this most recent trailer, if you haven't seen it, I recommend going and watching it. It's only like a minute and a half, but it has the look and the feel of Rogue One, which, as I told you, I feel like, in my opinion, is the best, most recent Star Wars film that has been released.
I would have to agree with that. I very much liked The Force Awakens because it was essentially just, as we talked about, the remake of A New Hope. So we know that all the beats worked, and the fact that we got to see Han and Chewie come in, and Han got some closure. Harrison got his closure on the character. I thought that was a fun movie. I do think that Rogue One was probably the from a movie standpoint, the best movie out of the new ones.
Force Awakens was good.
I take that back. Solo was probably the best movie out of the new ones.
Force Awakens was good for me with the contingency that it would answer questions.
Okay.
And that it would create a better, fuller arc of the trilogy. And right now that's in greater question. We're going to put a pin in that and come back to that in just a moment. But with Rogue One being that it explored more of the galaxy. Right. It got away from the family drama. Right. Because really, to quote my brother, that's what Star Wars is. This is a family drama at this point in time.
It is. It's a space opera that centers around a family drama.
Yeah. You might as well watch, Days of Our Lives at this point in time in space. But Rogue One got away from that. It looked at completely different set of characters. We got to see different parts of the galaxy. We got to see different trouble. It enhanced the Star Wars experience.
Okay.
And when I look at The Mandalorian, not only do I see that same thing, but you see a different side of it. The opening trailer is stormtrooper helmets on pikes with blood on them. I'm like, okay, you got my attention.
Now we're talking.
And you see Carl Weathers there looking nervous when he's obviously doing dealings with this Mandalorian bounty hunter. You're seeing like a lot of unsavory characters. By the end of the trailer, you watch a guy assumedly get cut in half by a goddamn door. I'm like, this is not A New Hope.
I don't understand how that's going on their family-friendly platform.
Well, again, I think this is a darker, it's a more gritty look at the universe of Star Wars, and I'm like, I'm all for it.
So in the new Episode 9 trailer, we're going to jump back and forth a little bit here. In the new Episode 9 trailer,
careful what you're jumping into here, buddy.
The thing says the final chapter in the Skywalker saga. Ugh. So again, why is there? Do you have an issue? Kill this fucking fly.
No.
This thing is driving me nuts. Okay.
Can't do it. Won't do it.
No? All life?
Because if you want me to swat at this thing, there's going to be problems. That's all I'm telling you. All of a sudden,
I'm going to move this over here. Yeah.
All this water.
You know what? I take back every request I've made. I don't actually, when they phrase it like that, and to understand that this 9-film arc has been around this family, the Skywalker family, the Skywalker saga. I'm actually, it makes it okay for me. It makes it feel better. I like the fact that Rogue One split off and it explored more. I like the fact that The Mandalorian does that. I like the fact that they are using this to close that chapter on Skywalker and hopefully go more into a Rogue One, more into a Mandalorian type storytelling. I'd be okay with more Star Wars canon based. The fly is now on Doug's head.
All over your face. I'm so sorry.
It's
I was
amazing.
Like, I was going to try and go whack and hit my head, but it didn't work. Okay.
So
this is great for the podcast.
I really wish this was a high def. Yeah, the podcast listeners. This is. Yeah, I mean,
just this fly just landed on my head, and I just sat there patiently trying to see if I could slap my head and kill it.
This is just great content.
Yes.
Engaging is what it is.
Yes.
So Doug's got fisticuffs. Don't do it.
I won't. Okay.
Don't do it.
This is going to be really annoying.
Yeah, this is going to be the entire episode. So I would like to see more set in the Star Wars universe. But like again, exploring nitty gritty, exploring different genres in the Star Wars universe, but getting away from the Skywalkers. I'm okay with 9 closing the chapter on it, using it to tie a bow on the story, as gross as the bow is probably going to be. That's what I have to say about 9.
Thank you for that last part, because the thing is, if we're going to wander into the episode 9 territory,
I do want to come back to the Mandalorian. I don't want to cap that.
But my response to that is, when you've got a studio that has launched Marvel, right?
Right.
That has put together this amazing story, tied together over 10, 11 years. And then you look at Star Wars and you're like, what the fuck are you guys doing over here? Like, what is happening?
Right.
And it's a situation where I look at this, and what bothers me the most, and my brother and I had a long discussion about this. We had a 2-hour discussion, not entirely about this, but a good chunk of it was about this, where I'm watching the new trilogy play out, and I'm starting to get really concerned because Force Awakens, again, like I said before, fine, exciting movie. I went to the theater twice to see it. I loved it. I loved everything about it.
First one in a long time. It was practical effects.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams, a trusted name in movies.
Yeah.
Going to make up for the shittiness that was the previous 3. Okay, we're into it. Let's do this. So yeah, that expectation was there.
Yeah, and it goes into that stuff. It goes into The Last Jedi, which I liked it first, but as I've said recently, has not aged well for me, and that's not good because it hasn't even been 2 years.
Now, I only seen it once.
Yeah, that's also, for me, that's telling. Like, I watch it, I was like, I really liked it because I thought it took risks, but then there was a lot of questions.
Okay.
The more you look at it. And this was, again, I can't take full credit for this because it was my brother bringing up some of these points too, but you run into situations where, okay, so let me get to the meat of this. We are very likely going to have a debate, either now or in the near future, depending on how episode 9 goes, and we're going to ask ourselves, were the prequels better than the new trilogy?
Now, you bring this up, and immediately my stomach turns.
Oh,
because I'm just like, go fuck yourself.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But let me lay out some things here, because, and for the record, I'm not happy about what I'm about to say, but it fucking makes sense.
All right.
Let's take a look at the prequels. All right.
Yep.
For all of their flaws, the prequels established their own story. All right? We got to see the scope of the galaxy. We got to see the scope of the situation. We saw massive amounts of clones attacking the Techno-Robo-Union army. We got to see giant space battles. And I'm not talking about the epic of this thing, because that was like beating yourself. It was like a Michael Bay movie. Like, we get it. These things are happening. But the thing was, we saw what was at stake in the universe.
Okay.
In this story. We saw the breadth of the clone army and the separatists, all right? As annoying and I think in a lot of ways completely what's the word I'm thinking of?
Unmotivated?
Unacceptable use of politics in this film. At least I got to see a galaxy reacting to what was going on within it, right?
Sure.
We got to see Senate.
You also got to see a love story completely just like shoved right down your throat.
And for as horrible as it was, we got to see Anakin turn to the dark side, right?
I guess.
Okay, now let's take that and see. And obviously you have the original trilogy for what it was. The new trilogy, here we go. we've got the First Order, okay? Who the fuck are they? Who are they? Okay. How big is
They're the new bad guys.
Thank you. God damn it.
You guys should have had
you.
me on the phone.
You know what?
when
I'm
you
sorry.
had this
I give up now. I
conversation.
just give up. He's got it. How big is their army? Right?
500,000 to a million, somewhere there.
Because here's the first question.
Give or take. I mean, they start as well. I'll get into the politics of it, but go ahead.
So in episode 8, right?
Yeah.
We see whatever they have chasing like the ragtag ships of rebels that are left, right? The rebels destroy one of their dreadnoughts. It's like, okay, but
Yay!
But how much does that really affect them? Because there's just chasing.
There's a lot of paperwork that has to be followed up with that.
Based on what? Whose paperwork?
Well, the First Orders.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They don't seem like a paperwork heavy kind of group.
Wow, you're not seeing the back.
They
office.
have a planet that's also a weapon, and they're not concerned about people being there and getting radiation poisoning.
Right. Well, no, you're forgetting about the force field.
Oh, of course, that protects them from that as they're outside looking at it and not
Right.
getting damage to the eyes. But they have special contact lenses. I got you.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe I have to explain this to you.
it's the force of a star, no big deal. And I'm
Oh
not.
my
And I
God.
don't want to talk about the nitpicky shit because that's not important to me.
You mean the
whatever.
fact that they zip this thing around the universe as
Yeah.
if it's a tiny little
or
cruiser?
the fact that they sucked out a sun and that would do that called just catastrophe among. But that's I'm not concerned about that stuff because that's to me is like whatever. I'll suspend that. They destroy
Because we have Wookiees.
They destroy the government in the galaxy, right? They destroy the Republic, right?
Right.
What are the repercussions of that?
Anarchy.
How do you know?
Logic.
The casino planet seems to be doing fine,
Speaking of which, I wanted to get to that.
right? Like,
Right.
What are the repercussions for what's happening?
Wow, they're self-governing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
because
People
that works.
lined up.
Because that works, right?
People just figured
you
it
take
out.
any major power in the world right now and destroy it, and everything will be just fine, right?
Yeah.
No, everyone's like, we'll just self-govern. We'll just pretend that they weren't there.
Yeah.
No big deal, right?
Have you
you
never,
been to the future?
Have you never been to San Francisco?
Lawless, lawless, poop everywhere.
That place is just the epitome of self-governance.
So we take a look at that. Like we don't know what's left, or we don't know how. The action's dire, right? And it's seeming like an afterthought. We destroyed the galactic government.
Right.
It's done. Okay. Now what happens? We don't know. We don't see the effect of that, right? And then again, we come back to
The trilogy's not done yet, though.
Oh, agreed, right? We come back to, episode 8, where you have whatever First Order forces are chasing down what's left, right? And then you get something like one of the coolest moments in the movie, right? Ship turns around, aims itself at them, and they're like, one of the captains goes, "Oh my God, they're about to do," like they know what's about to happen, right? Which implies that someone has done this before, right?
Sure, okay.
That someone has done this trick before, right?
Wait, did they actually say they're about to do,
They-
the Kessel maneuver or something?
They made reference like, "Oh my God, they're gonna go to warp speed." Like they made an idea of like, "Holy shit, this." They made some sort of reference like, "Oh, I know what's about to happen." Like this isn't the first time it's been
Maybe
thought
they
of.
were just a good guesser.
Okay, maybe.
I'm just saying, you
But
don't
here's
know
the
what
thing.
that guy's
Let's
history
keep-
is.
Let's keep going with that,
All
right?
right,
Okay,
all right,
so she pulls off this devastating move, goes
yes.
to light speed,
Right.
absolutely annihilates stuff,
Torches
right?
them, yeah.
Okay. Why didn't the First Order just light speed in front of them, for starters? Right? They're chasing them down.
Right. Well, you can't light speed with that kind of precision.
Oh, really?
You can. The thing is, she wasn't intending to warp behind them. You're not warping, is the thing. You're light speeding.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you for explaining this to me.
Yes, I'm gonna mansplain this to you. So
Yeah.
you're not. So light speeding is different than warping, right? You're not. She wasn't intending to just warp behind them and boop. Now you can't catch me. She was gonna go through them. She didn't care where she stopped.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is
so they couldn't have
the whole
warped-
conceit of that scene
Yeah.
was they can't catch up with them,
Right.
right? Why couldn't they just go pick the coordinates, warp in front of them, and then shoot them from the front?
I mean, you have to. There's a certain distance that you have to have. It's
Okay.
like a ramp up distance to warp
Cool.
speed. So you
have one
can't-
ship,
yeah.
just hang back and wait until
Sure.
that distance is reached,
Yeah.
and then while they're coordinating with
Oh, I
everyone
see what you're
else,
saying.
say, "Okay, cool, you've reached your distance. These are their coordinates. This is their bearing. Hit it."
Okay, so you're saying
And then
have
they're-
one ship wait back, and then one ship keep following to give coordinates. Right. So just in case they veered off course.
Exactly.
Right.
To tell them exactly where to go.
Did
And
they
then
have two ships there?
They had a lot of ships there.
Did they?
Yes.
I've only seen this movie once.
Agreed.
I can't remember
Yes.
it.
So there's, for starters, I'm like, okay, why are we just chasing him? Why can't you just get in front of him
Sure.
and then kill him? So that. Secondly,
Remind me real quick too, because I haven't seen this movie. Honest question. Why did they do the slow chase?
so apparently,
Like, could the bad guy starship not just like go like 2 miles an hour faster, and then
Apparently
eventually
not.
exponentially you close the gap?
apparently not. They were bombarding them with stuff, but their shields, were keeping it up, but they couldn't keep going forever. They were running out of fuel,
Right.
And as they ran out, they would kill certain ships,
yeah.
But they were just like, we're going to keep trugging along at this point. It's like they were like rubber banded,
Right.
They couldn't get too far away, but they also couldn't warp because they didn't have enough fuel.
No. I'm saying what the bad guys.
I know, that's what I'm saying. For whatever
The
reason,
bad guys didn't have enough fuel.
I mean, they had fuel, but they just couldn't go fast enough, apparently.
Okay.
So
Continue.
when you break this down, it's like, fuck, this seems kind of weird that we did this.
I
right?
dig it. Yeah.
So
it's a slow speed space chase.
all right, so if we can establish that you can light speed in and absolutely annihilate shit, how come we didn't put R2D2 in something and be like, R2, go light speed? Droids would be the most valuable asset. Robots, because you could just put them in some sort of spaceship, get them to an area and have them light speed at whatever they were, and they would absolutely destroy. The Death Star doesn't need a run through the trenches. You send fucking R2D2.
But here's the thing.
Light speeding right through that thing.
Would that not destroy R2D2?
Yeah.
So droids don't have rights?
No.
Oh, Doug.
I think,
Doug,
you know
Doug,
why they
Doug,
don't have rights,
Doug,
Justin?
Doug,
Do you know
Doug.
why they don't have rights? Because
What?
the fucking Galactic Senate is dead.
Doug. Just because government collapses does not mean basic AI rights go out the window.
Obviously they do.
Oh my God, here we go. They didn't want to get here. I didn't want to go political.
It took us over 4 years, but we finally got there.
Oh shit.
This is my platform to end droid rights.
Guys, you are listening currently to the final episode of Mind Gap Podcast. It's been a great run.
It has been great.
Jared, we're sorry we couldn't have you on.
But-
fair. That's fair.
Because
That's fair.
these are the things that you can extrapolate from there. Also the fact that Poe was right the whole time.
Yeah, but then you're just wasting ships with lightspeed drive, which is expensive.
Oh, we're worried about cost?
Yes.
Is that what we're worried about?
Apparently, Jared.
Fine, just put a droid, fucking strap something onto him. Don't even build a ship. Just put a
You want a
warp drive.
lightspeed pack on
Yeah,
his back?
yeah.
That doesn't exist. That kind of technology is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I'm
That's
sorry. I'm right.
ridiculous.
You're right. Laser swords are
Don't
insane.
don't be an idiot,
a
Doug.
planet that sucks in suns. You're right. I'm crazy. I'm right. You're right.
I
You're
thought
right.
we were arguing in the realm of logic,
Yeah, you're
asshole.
Right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
So
Good call,
So
Jared.
those are the things that I'm starting to be like, okay, we still don't know. It's
Really hard to argue against these.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like you look at Maz. How did Maz get Luke's lightsaber or Anakin's lightsaber?
It was gifted to her.
Okay, she said that's a story for another
Secret
time.
Santa exchange.
Secret Santa. She's like, woo! I won. I just bought a box of Kleenexes. So fuck you guys.
You ever seen the Storage Wars, guys? This is why
500 credits. Show me that storage.
This is why the call with your brother, if I was on it, would have lasted 3 minutes. Because
Yeah.
he would have been furious.
He'd be like, what the fuck?
If
Yeah.
he's listening to this right now, or when he does, I
Storage Wars.
cannot wait for him to get furious at me.
And it's a situation where I look at this and I look at the story, and I'm like, what can we do better? Because the trailer, by the way, for this new trailer, it seems to me masturbatory.
Oh yeah,
Because like the first
100%.
30 seconds is like, do you remember
It's
all
just,
these movies?
It's just clips. That's all it is. Yeah.
Guys, it's nostalgia.
Right.
And I was like, fuck your nostalgia with your fist.
Right.
Because I am done with this. This is what you guys are blatantly playing on, and
Right.
I don't want it. It's like the end to this saga. You see a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And then you have the shot at the end where, spoiler alert, Rey's holding some ridiculous lightsaber that somehow snaps, and she's holding a double-ended lightsaber that's a Sith one.
Have you seen the GIF of the?
Nope, I haven't seen any of them yet.
The the lightsaber, the Swiss Army lightsaber. I feel like I need to show it to you.
Oh my god, it's
yeah.
insane. But it's just like what they're doing is they're trying to subvert us. And I was like, look, what if? and this is something my brother and I were thinking out for the sake of story.
Okay.
Right? What if we took a different route with this altogether, all right? And my brother had this. Justin's going to show me this. Oh, my God. That is amazing.
That is.
It's like, which one you want me to fuck you up with, Kylo?
Do you need wine opened? I got a wine opener on here. I got small scissors. And the scissors move at the end.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, anyway, real quick, before we go into that, Jared did bring up a point. He goes, I think the problem with the new trilogy was built on knowing they'll do more tie-ins to tell their story rather than just giving us the story in 3 films.
Jared, I think that's excellently put, is they were tying shit in, and they didn't need to.
Okay.
Let me paint a picture for you.
Please.
Again, this is a lot of my brother's ideas with my stuff added to it. But what if we start episode 7.
Fade in,
the Republic. All right? And here's the thing. It's been 35 years. The Republic, as we go on, we realize the Republic is the corrupt bad guy. Right? Because people are so concerned at keeping the Empire down, right? And get a little political with it, right? People who dissent or disagree, they're stamped out. You start seeing propaganda pop up that's like for the Republic and everything like that. And you start to realize that the Republic, while trying so hard to keep the Empire at bay, they've actually become the bad guys. And you realize that there's maybe some attacks, some terrorist attacks that are happening in response to this. And what you find out is that the leader of the terrorist cell is in league with the leader of the Republic. And the Republic is using this guy to sow fear, like V for Vendetta. And as they're trying to uncover what's going on, we find out who the real villain is. And in the midst of all of this, infighting, here you go, pulling some Watchmen sort of stuff in it, you realize there's a greater external threat that's coming into the galaxy. Something that's going to wipe everyone out. Call it your
Star Sucker.
Call it your White Walkers, if you will.
Okay.
Right? And in order for everyone to survive, they have to band together, which includes, all right, the Jedi, which at this point you don't see much of because Luke has seen this and says, we're not fucking doing this again.
Out.
He takes himself and his Jedi warriors and he disappears. And no one knows where he went, but he's like, we will not have a repeat of the Clone Wars. And he leaves, all right? Eventually, it culminates in a situation where people have banded together. You get your Avengers Assemble moment, right? All groups of people are coming together under a tense and just tenuous alliance, right? And people are meeting. They're like, all right, here's what we got to do. We got to fight this external threat, have it be aliens or whatever. I know there's some non-canon book where there's this alien threat that's like you can't sense with the Force and it's devastating, whatever. Have something like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you figure about what this is about, middle of episode 8. This thing is coming, right? So episode 9 is all about how do we stop this? How do we come together, right? So you're having your big meeting, right, with all these people about like this is what we got to do. We got to take this MacGuffin base or whatever it is. In walks Luke and his like 12 Jedi. There's not that many, right? And he's like,
like the apostles.
Right? Exactly.
Nice.
So he comes in, he's like, look,
nice.
He's like, we will defend. We're the Jedi. We'll defend. We believe in this. We're here to help. And out in the other way comes Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren and the Sith. And people are like, oh, shit. They all look at each other, and Kylo's basically like says, if we all want to survive, then we need to do this together. So now you got this balance, right, of Sith and Jedi. You got a handful of each, right? Between the two of them, less than 25. It's kind of like your Space Marine situation where these guys are absolute badasses.
12 and 12 would be 24, so.
There you go. They go and essentially you'd have an amazing moment where you have your Avengers Assemble moment where you see the troops lining up ready to fight, and then also you see Jedi light up their lightsabers. You see the Sith light up their lightsabers, and they work together to fight off whatever this is. You've got the Sith lightning blasting guys with a Jedi Force push. They working together to fight this off, and at the end, after they succeed, have Luke die, have lots of, several of the Jedi and the Sith, they don't make it. But at the end, you basically see the Jedi and the Sith part ways. And they basically say, we're still at war with each other, but, in times of need for the greater good, we will come together because there's balance to the Force again. And you can have situations like this, and Rey's part of that story. Finn is part of that story in the sense of what if, you still have the same thing where Kylo injures him really badly in episode 7, but instead of him being fully recovered, he gets more cybernetic, right? They replaced that stuff. So he's just on a quest for revenge. He has to get Kylo Ren at all costs. And as time goes on, he gets more and more implants. He becomes less and less human because he's driven by revenge. And you have a wonderful moment at the final battle, where he's got Kylo in his sights. And you have to decide, does he take the shot and kill Kylo and potentially put everyone at risk, or does he finally put aside that? There's so many cool things you could do with these types of things. You could still have your Han Solos and your Leias and your Chewies and those moments, but that's not about them. It tells a completely different story. It's jumping off from everything we had in the original trilogy without having to fall on fucking Palpatine, without having to go through all that sort of shit. Because at this point, what's going on with fucking Snoke, right? Who is Snoke?
Oh,
I didn't give a shit when he died.
Yeah.
But it was like, what is he? If the real bad guy's the Emperor, then who the fuck is Snoke? How does he know so much?
Right.
Where did he come from? And it's like, if that doesn't get answered, we're in a real pickle here. So anyway, I've just talked for a lot. I apologize, but I got real excited about thinking about that story.
No, look. The thing is, it's a great story, and I would say, if you're not happy with the story that's being made, Doug, go write it.
Write it down in your journal. And tell your grandkids about it.
Put it in your dream board, you fucking idiots.
Copyright claim.
Right. No, it's a good story. Honestly, that's a great story. It completely valid. Every point that you brought up, completely valid, and that is a fantastic story. You have come up with, and you've told me, and you and Dave have come up with and told me, great alternatives for like how episode 1, 2, and 3 could have been better. How you could do spin-offs, like the one thing story we talked about that you kind of came up with about like that one guy who's just which is not too far out from the Mandalorian. It's one guy kind of following, which is kind of a cool parallel there. But where was I going with this?
I think the word you're going to use was tough titties.
Tough tits, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, cool. Chill your tits, Donna. Yeah, is what I was going to say. No, you guys have come up with these really good things, but again, I always go back to that's not those would have been great stories. Let me tell you how you could have made the other Bourne movies better. Let me tell you how you could have made you could go down this road, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the story that was told.
That's a valid point, and thank you for bringing that up again. I think the point I'm trying to illustrate with this is that as bad as the prequels were, they told their own story. The original trilogy
I see where you're
told their own story. The new trilogy should have told their own story, but they're relying on previous material to do whatever it is that they're doing, and I don't feel like their story is going to stand alone.
That's fair.
And that's why I think the prequels currently have a leg up on the new trilogy, and it kills me to say that.
Yeah.
Because I do not like them. For all of their flaws, they told their own story. And I look at the new trilogy. A shitty story. But again, like we talked about, we established, and again, it is not good, but it stood by itself. And whereas when I look at the new trilogy, I'm like, you guys are leaning so heavily on the original trilogy to tell your story.
Right.
And it's I don't feel like they're telling a really good story because it's like the end of the Skywalker story. I'm like, why is this the Skywalker story?
Well, it was set up as a Skywalker story from the very beginning, though. Episode 4, it absolutely was. Episode 4, 4, 5, and 6 were all about Luke.
Sure.
Absolutely. And then episode 1, 2, and 3 were absolutely telling about Anakin. So it was the Skywalker story. So all 6 of the first movies, that fly loves you.
Yeah. He smells the perfection.
Fear.
Smells perfection.
All 6 of the original movies were 100% the Skywalkers. And
is it on me somewhere?
It's on your phone.
Is it on me? Oh, God. This fucking fly. He's like, I want to be in a podcast.
Right.
Ask me what I think.
I've got the buzz on what's happening in entertainment.
I like Kylo Ren.
You would, Fly. Get out of here. No, I would, but there's no reason that the final 3 would deviate from that, is what I'm saying. I feel like I'll say this. I agree with everything that you and Dave are saying. Mm-hmm. I will say that if the last 3 deviated from the Skywalker story, I feel like that would be a disservice to what the first 6 set up. You have to finish this story off.
Well, I feel like you do finish the story off in the way that I told it. So,
But
that was so arrogant.
I know, yes.
I said it in a way that was super arrogant.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to argue with this.
My story does it.
Jared says, "Hey, Doug, maybe you should start a petition."
Yeah, right. Because that's what's going to fucking happen.
Right.
Rewrite episode 9. You haven't seen it yet. I don't care.
Right.
It's like
Redo episode 7.
Well, because
rescind or redact them from canon.
Because here's the thing too.
Let's retcon.
Because they're already going to retcon Rey's story.
Right.
I can tell. So why not? But here's the thing too:
Christ.
is like these movies were not handed off in the same way that the Marvel movies were.
So that was going to be my
That
next
also
question.
bothers me.
Is that if JJ did episode 8, do you think it would have had a more cohesive storyline?
There's a good chance. But here's the thing: JJ did episode 7. And was like, I'm good. I'm done here.
So he did, but why did he come back for the last one?
Because the other guy
Did they
got
throw a
fired,
sack of money at him?
and they were like, "Please come back." And he's like, "Okay." Like it wasn't like I'll be back for 9. He was done after 7.
But my price is doubled.
And they're like, "Please, JJ."
It's fine. We got Disney money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like,
Our market cap is $264 billion.
Right, we got this. And so I look at that, and there's been countless, I think we've talked about this before. The handoff between JJ and Rian Johnson was it was not clear.
Right.
It was not a group of people like Marvel who was like, cool.
Right.
These are the things that are going to happen.
Absolutely, yes.
You guys fill in the gaps. Like, no one was playing that out. JJ did his story. He's like, cool, I'm done now. Who wants to take it from here? And Ryan had already started filming and writing.
Right.
Not already filming, but writing it. He's
Right.
like, oh, by the way, can you have R2 be on the planet with Luke? Because actually I need BB-8 for something else that I'm
gonna
doing.
bring him in,
He's
yeah.
like, oh, we'll change that last minute. It's
Yeah.
like, but they're not talking about what's happening.
Right.
And while I
That's totally
appreciate
fair.
Ryan's ability to like, hey, we're going to throw a wrench in this.
Right.
We want to do this stuff. There was also no talk of like how that's going to affect everything else. What if J.J. Abrams is like, yeah, you know what? We want Rey's parents to actually mean something.
Right.
So we'll just say that Kylo said it was a lie. It just invalidates everything. They don't. This is going to sound really dramatic and probably too over the top, but I don't feel like he's going to honor what he's not going to yes and it.
Right.
He's not going to be like, cool, that's done. We're good. Because to me, that was pretty special to be like, Rey's parents are nobody, and that's the point of this.
Right.
Anybody can be a Jedi. By the last scene in the movie where the boy
that little
grabs,
kid, yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are.
That's a Skywalker nephew. Let's not get that wrong.
Oh, Jesus
That's
Christ.
a Skywalker.
That would make me lose my mind.
Like, what if that is revealed? What if they show that kid and he is, and they're just like, oh, you mean the forgotten Skywalker?
Hey, what's up? It's Chet Skywalker. I grew up on a casino planet.
Yeah, bro. My name's Tristan Skywalker.
Oh, hey, Tristan, it's Chet. What's up, bro?
Oh, bro. I didn't see you at the Skywalker family reunion.
I know, right? Apparently Luke was just dumping his seed everywhere, man.
Oh, Luke was just fucking laying pipe.
Pumping, dumping, and taking off, man. He said it was all about the Force.
Right, yeah.
And he laid that Force down, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, dude. Ooh. I feel it flowing in me, man.
He may have lost his lightsaber. He didn't lose his lightsaber, if you know what I mean.
I'm talking about this guy knows how to do it.
Yeah. Anyway.
It works really great on the simple-minded. Wait, what are you implying? Nothing. Luke is honorable and good.
Cut to it becomes a crime drama.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Dun dun. Star Wars SVU.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
You want a procedural Star Wars? There you go.
There it is. Disney Plus, we got your next series.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Basically, the episode 9, I absolutely agree. Episode 9, as it stands right now, from what I've seen, does not look like it's going to do well. It does not look good.
I made this.
And I agree too. Why the fuck do you need to bring the Emperor back? You do not need to bring him back.
I shouted about that when Maddie Robinson was on.
Absolutely.
And I could shout about it again, but I don't see... And that's why I get upset with a lot of the stuff is I'm like, you guys are playing on nostalgia.
Yes.
Why does Palpatine have to be the bad guy again? He was orchestrating all of this from behind the scenes. Why do that, right? Like, what's the point?
Right.
As if we already had an arc with him. We gave him 3 extra movies in the prequels to see how he became or how he rose to power. Do we really? Dude, he fell down a fucking shaft.
Right.
He's still alive.
So by that logic, Snoke could come back because obviously no one's really dead.
Well, people have also posited that he's a clone of Palpatine.
Oh, Christ.
Which is why he looks so fucked up and he knows so much and everything like that. And I don't know, man. It's
why he looks so fucked up?
Yeah, Snoke looks pretty fucked up.
Oh, you're saying Snoke is a clone of... Oh, got it. Okay, I thought you meant Palpatine that's going to be in this one is a clone of the original, and that's I was like,
Who
we haven't
knows?
seen him yet.
They could do that too.
Yeah.
Who fucking knows? I mean, the idea of clones is always has not really been played up much in the movies, but it has been a part of the Star Wars galaxy of there being clones and things like that. But I'm just like, God, that's why I look at this. I'm like, let's tell something different. By having these older characters in as like integral parts of the story, you're not letting the other characters get to live their story.
Right, but again, wrap this one up, put a bow on it, a gross, ugly old soaking wet bow, and then you can tell the other stories. Again, I think.
But why
I
do
feel
we
like
need
this
to
is
waste our
almost-
time with 3 more movies to wrap it up? I feel like episode 6 wrapped it up pretty well.
Oh, false.com. Don't click on that.
Episode 6 ended perfectly.
Did it?
It did.
Did it?
What about it didn't end perfectly, Justin?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Did it?
Okay, seriously, did it?
Did it?
Death
It's
Star.
been a long time since I've seen that
Death
movie.
Star 2.0
Yeah.
gets blown up, right?
They're having a, they all have
Darth
a fucking,
Vader gets lit up.
Right.
Palpatine's dead.
They're all having a
Ewoks
party. Right.
are doing great. Like the Empire's gone.
Right. No, I agree. You could have gone.
And they're like, no, we need more closure. It's like, how? Luke bought a house with a subprime mortgage rate.
Right.
It's like, what? What is happening?
He invested his money very wisely.
Yep, because he knows things.
Right.
He
knows things.
He knows things.
No, I just think that at this point, I guess what I was saying is at this point, you need to burn episode 9 as just a wrap this up. Like, there's no way that you could have made a better episode. I think that's what my point is. There's no way that you could make there's no way you could make a better episode 9.
Okay.
Episode 9 needs to be burned.
Uh-huh.
Like you basically, it's like when you're just like, look, we're gonna do this and get it out of the way. Like you need to burn this movie just to wrap it up, and then you can move on.
That's really how we gotta look at this.
Yeah, because like if episode 7 had come out of the gate with a whole different storyline, absolutely. But with the first 2, what they are,
Yeah.
here's
the thing.
You've got to let this one go.
I still really like episode 7, and I was really looking forward to what the story would be.
Sure.
And I guess I've just been disappointed where they've
Because the
gone.
thing is, episode 7, as much shit as it caught, you could have gone anywhere with it.
Yeah.
You still could have gone down a different road and introduced a lot of different shit in episode 8. You could have. They did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just tough because also the other side of this is the fans, where
Right. Well, they're making the popular decisions for the fans. If you make the unpopular decision, it's unpopular, but typically the unpopular decision is the better story.
Well, here's the thing. I've seen people who've said that episode 8 destroyed their childhood get pumped up about episode 9. I was like,
Wait.
I was like,
Really?
I feel like if you didn't like episode 8, you probably aren't going to like episode 9.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm like, what?
What?
How can you?
Have you held their feet to the fire and at least like made them explain themselves?
No. I have
that doesn't make any sense.
I'm having a, because
I
the
don't
thing
like
is
it.
like what's propping this whole series up is nostalgia.
Yes.
And I'm worried that in the
100%.
future, Marvel will run into the same problem. When inevitably this stuff gets rebooted and things like that, I'm worried that people will be like, oh, well, I remember when Chris Evans was Captain America and his shield it was red, silver, red star, and then they reversed the color scheme, and now I'm fucking confused. And now it was vibranium, but now it's adamantium because they own the rights to Fox. What the fuck are we doing?
I like that. Now I'm confused. That has completely set their world to tizzy. No, the thing is, it will 100. And for anyone who disagrees, it will 100% happen to Marvel. Like Marvel has a shelf life, and like make no bones about it, Marvel has a shelf life. Right now, they are infallible, and they could very well keep that up for the next 10 years. They could have a solid 2 decades of just hit after hit after hit, no miss. There will come a day when it's inevitable. They're just no one has a perfect streak forever. Like no one can continue a perfect streak. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And people just need to be ready for that. And I'm not looking forward to the people who do that whole "you ruined my childhood." Shut up. It's a fucking movie.
Yeah, it's like...
Like, again, I don't... Like, Star Wars, you can have whatever opinion you want to have on them. Love them, hate them, whatever. I still think the first three are the one,
original
two, and,
three?
No, not the original three. The...
Prequels.
Sorry, thank you. The prequels, I never know how to address these.
I know.
The prequels are absolute dog shit. It's a very compelling argument that the last trilogy is worse storytelling-wise. I think look-wise, they're absolutely better. Character-wise, I still say they're better. Acting-wise, they're better. So
yeah.
it's a from a purely story architecture standpoint, sure. The prequel is our superior. That is the only thing that they are superior at. But that being said, it's still ruining my childhood, and everyone is all up in arms. It's a fucking movie, guys.
Yeah.
It's a fucking movie.
Yeah. And you know, I appreciate you saying...
And we've done an entire episode on it, but again, I can even say to us, it's a fucking movie.
It is. And I think part of the issue with it is...
What do you appreciate me saying?
Well, I appreciate you coming and being like, hey, that's a cool story idea. Write it in your journal because it's not happening. And it's a valid thing to say
it's
because...
just my dick thing to say.
No, it's true, though, because I get worked up when people come up with their own fan theories. When the fan theories aren't correct, people are like, oh, this movie sucks because that's what they wanted to have happen.
Right.
And that's fine. Just don't get carried away with it sort of thing. And I look at this stuff and I just get upset because for me, it seems like it's lazy. It seems like it's lazy because they're like, what's the easiest way we can ease people back into this thing? And the fact that they've had to sort of like pause on their off-cycle, non-episode movies.
Because we were supposed to get a movie a year.
Yeah. But
let's not forget that. It was supposed to be a movie a year for the foreseeable future.
And they're like, let's pause and maybe we'll do some stuff on Disney Plus. Like I've heard there may be an Obi-Wan show now, which I'm like, God, we don't need another. Again,
the nice thing about The Mandalorian is because it does take that separation.
It does.
You might be able to reference. It's kind of like what the Netflix Marvel series did. They in no way, shape, or they never had Captain America on. They never had Iron Man on. They never had the Hulk, and they never had any one of those people on. They never even really explicitly talked about details from there. They just referred to the War of New York, or that the big green guy's off doing this thing.
Yeah.
They would reference it lightly.
Maybe if you had a suit of armor or a magic hammer, I could understand why you were getting your asses kicked.
Exactly.
But they were just nods.
It was just a sprinkling of remember this exists in the universe. So if The Mandalorian does that, I'm 100% okay with that. Even a walk by, or a walk on. Like you can have someone from the movies. Like if Rey pops in, that's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Well, she wouldn't because it's set right after Jedi. But regardless, what I'm saying is but the fact that the crux of it happens outside of what we know, fantastic. We don't need an Obi-Wan one.
Nope.
We don't need we don't need a Jar Jar Binks one.
No.
Although that would be a great kid
We didn't
show.
need a Han Solo one.
We did not need a Han Solo.
We need to be like, how does he get his gun? How does he meet Chewie?
Right.
How does he get the Millennium Falcon?
God, I watched that and just went the whole time.
I posted an amazing article from Crack today as to why prequels are dog shit. I was like, thank you guys.
We've talked about we've talked ad nauseum about this.
I mentioned that. I was like, they nailed so many points from all these movies. I'm like, yes, they call out Monsters University. I was like, yes, like all of these things because they fuck with the continuity.
They fuck with the continuity, and you already there's no stakes.
No,
because you know where it's gonna go.
And they over-explain things. They gave a lot of really great examples of horror movies that do prequels. They're like, there's nothing more terrifying than the unknown, and by over-explaining something, you're like, oh, cool. I think who was it? They was some what villain was it? I don't think it was Halloween, but there was some other villain where you find out his name was Leatherface.
Okay.
From Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like, they do like these prequel things. You realize, his name's not Leatherface. His name was originally Tommy. And you listen to people saying, there's Tommy. Hey, Tommy, go do this. It's like, we don't need to know that his name's Tommy.
Right. The
and
fact that he's this bloodthirsty entity is
wears
terrifying.
the skin of dead people and carries around a chainsaw and makes weird noises.
I don't need to know how he got into it.
Oh, well, his family used to own a butcher shop, and then that's where he learned how to do all these things. Right. And there's another continuity one where he lost his job and he took it out by murdering people. It's like, or the Rob Zombie over explanation of who Mike Myers is. It's like, he had a bad stepdad. Got it. It's like, Why are we over-explaining? And then, of course, we talked about, too, Hannibal. Hannibal Lecter. Oh, his sister got captured by guys and cannibalized, so he did the same thing to those guys.
Right.
Ta-da! That's how it's like. Why do we need to do that? And I feel like we're getting that even in these like newer Star Wars movies. They're like, well, we got to explain stuff. And I was like, no, you don't. You don't need to over-explain it.
I'm glad that you brought that up because it just made me have a thought of why. And Dave, I love you, but your argument's invalid. And I have one word.
Yes.
Midichlorians.
Oh, God. Ugh.
The prequels will never be better.
You mean cholesterol?
Than any other of the fucking Star Wars movies because of midichlorians.
They did try to over-explain that. And the fact that, we'll go down it. Anakin builds...
Argument done.
Anakin builds C-3PO because,
right.
whatever. There's too many things.
In no world, I'm convinced now, no world are those movies better.
Yeah, it's tough. But it's like we have to over-explain everything. It's like, no, you don't. And I guess, again, going back to my original point, my issue is that this is, I shouldn't say lazy, it's safe.
Yeah.
And it's boring because it's safe for me. It's a situation where because we can't tell our original story, because we're scared, right? Because the last Star Wars movie is Episode 3. It's been a while. We want to play it safe, and we basically redo Episode 4, which is kind of like, okay, all right. And then we're like, I don't know. It's just we go down this road, and I'm like, man, I expect more from a company that owns Marvel, and they could probably just go down and visit those guys and be like, hey,
hey, Feige,
can I get
question?
Just a quick question?
Yeah,
it's just to think about
consult on this.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's disappointing to me because since The Last Jedi has come out, and I liked that film at release, I defended it. I was like, no, this was good. And then I started seeing Infinity War and Endgame, and I'm like, oh, this is how you do it. It started losing its luster.
Yeah.
I own it, but I'm like, I don't feel like watching it. Or if I do, I skip past things, which is never a good sign. I'm good.
Yeah, I need to go back and rewatch it.
And
just for the sake of being able to watch. Actually, what I need to do is I need to go back and watch 1 through 8.
Yeah.
Just because I have not seen the prequels in a long time, and I have not seen 8 since it was released.
Yeah.
So I need to go back and rewatch all of them.
I feel like I'm good. And that's the thing, too, is like I'm less inclined to get Natalie into it.
And that's sad.
It is sad.
That's a bummer.
Like,
because Star Wars used to be one of those things where you're just like,
yes.
I want to show my kids Star Wars? Fucking A.
I mean, I'll get around to it because, the Star Wars, place in Disney World, which is just magnificent and all that sort of stuff.
Allegedly.
But even that, like, I have no doubt that Disney did a wonderful job making this place. But at the same time, when I've seen people going into that park, footage of them going like, this is my dream come true. I'm like, you fucking nerd.
Really?
Like, people are like waiting for the Millennium Falcon ride, and they're like, I'm in the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, nerds! Like, for some reason, I get so angry at that now. And I'm like,
I love the fact that you're betraying two things. Your nerdism and Disney.
I know.
Because you defend Disney, and as shitty of a company as it is in its parks, you defend it up and down.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have no doubt that it's masterfully crafted. I bet it's immersive. I'm sure it's amazing. I would love to go and check it out, but because I've fallen out of love with Star Wars, the rose-colored glasses are gone. I see people going like, "Oh my God, the Millennium Falcon!" I'm like, Greedo shot first. It's just like all I want to do is like poke the bear now because the story to me has faltered. I've lost my interest in it, and I just get annoyed where people freak out about it. And I was like, I'm glad. I guess a part of me wishes I still had that love.
Sure.
I miss it. I miss it, and I'm just like, I want them to be miserable as I am when it comes to Star Wars, and that's not fair.
That is not, and that's the thing. When you do finally show them to Natalie, you have to do the best you can to be as as neutral as you cannot be like, now this is why you're not going to like this movie. I
need her to make her own decision. When we were on our trip,
and you
down to
can't
the
love
Ozarks,
her less if she likes Episode 8.
Hey, whatever. It is what it is. We like what we like. But when we were down in the Ozarks and we were just hanging out one night watching TV, Return of the Jedi was on. I'm like, well, fuck it. It's on. It's probably for you anyway because there's fucking Ewoks. But, here you go.
Right.
And we were watching it, whatever. She was interested, and I'm like, who's that? She's like, Darth Vader. I'm like, good job. You're my daughter. Things like that. And I'm like,
you got to do paternity test every once in a while.
Are you mine? Yeah, okay. You're clumsy? Yeah, you're mine. it's one of those things where, it's for the sake of the pop culture references, she should be aware of it.
100%.
So it's one of those things where I actually don't. Do I currently own any of the Star Wars movies?
Didn't you just say you have?
I have. Well, I have. Well, yeah. Let me take that back. Any of the older ones.
Oh, okay.
I own 7 and 8 digitally. At one point, I had the original trilogy on DVD.
I had them on VHS.
Right. I also had them on VHS. I think
I had them on Betamax.
Did not. I was not alive for that. Idiot. But I think I got rid of those, and I haven't rebought them. I've seen them on. It's like, oh, buy the first 6 movies for $70. I'm like, but I don't really want the first 3.
Right, it's like, yeah.
I was like, but I should get them all, and then it's like a situation where I'm gonna be again. In what order do I show them to her? In what order do I do it?
That's still the eternal debate. That is still the eternal debate.
Because
chronologically, or like story chronologically, or like how everyone else.
I think I got to do original trilogy first.
How everyone else consumed them.
Because I just think that's a better story. And then we can go back.
That I would like to hear our listeners weigh in on.
Yeah.
That I would like to hear everyone else's thoughts. So how should, when the time comes, in general, how should one consume, if someone's never seen it before, but specifically, how should Doug show Natalie when the time comes? So you'll hear all the social medias at the end and everything. But please message us and let us know, because I'm dying to know what you guys think. Should it be episode 1 through episode 9, or should it be 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9?
Yeah,
because that's a really
with Rogue One thrown in there,
Sure, and Solo, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Real quick thoughts on that.
Back to Mandalorian. Yeah. Excited about it because again, we're exploring a universe. Right. You get to see some really cool stuff. It's got that same feel of Rogue One.
Yeah.
There's what's the, it's God, I can't think of the fucking word. It's very sinister, and interesting, and it seems like we're going to get a really good opportunity to see some other stuff in that universe. And we're going to, because, there's some nods and stuff that I'm like, cool. Like there's a part where he's, the guys walk away and there's like 4 or 5 people in carbonite, that's like, oh, yeah, cool.
It's like, this is how they
trap him and things like that. So obviously he works for Jabba or something like that, or, has access to this sort of thing. So it's one of those things where like you're going to get nice nods to things while also exploring this universe where obviously the Empire is not liked on some of these planets that they go to. They're going to be like, okay, which is kind of how it works, in some of the non-canon stuff. The Empire, in the Outer Rim, the Empire doesn't hold much sway out there. So that's where gangsters like Jabba the Hutt and stuff like that can operate. And Vader actually hates those guys. He fucking can't stand them. And he's like, get in line or not. And he will actually go down and hunt those guys, but at the same time, he knows when to utilize them, like Jabba the Hutt or fucking Boba Fett and stuff like that. So they can. It's just gonna be interesting to see that relationship.
Sure.
Because heads on pikes, you see like again, I don't know what it is, but it looks like you have those elite stormtroopers, the guys clad in black, are aiming at something.
Right.
There's a point where the Mandalorian like draws down on like a Mexican standoff with some other stormtroopers. So there's no love lost for the Empire, but at the same time, the Mandalorian probably isn't a good guy.
Right.
But it's interesting to see other elements that are not happy with the Empire and trying to figure out why.
So we're gonna have it's your like it's your space anti-hero.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really
it could be like the Punisher of some or
like,
your Daredevil.
If they go down
something.
that road of it, I'm gonna be very curious about it.
And that's what gets me interested, because there's gonna be more for us to see and more for us to explore in this galaxy, more characters. Because even some of the animated series have done extremely well. Star Wars Rebels has done really well and things like that. And they build out the galaxy more, the universe. They build it out by telling these other stories when there's nods and there's actual cameos, but the story is about these new characters, and they do extremely well.
Right.
Because you're building out more of the story. And those where I'm like, take those elements and apply it to your main episode.
And the thing is that, apply it to the main. I think we've determined that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And again, the main episodes are whatever. But I think by them wrapping up 9, and I think this frees them and frees them. I do truly think that it kind of unshackles them from having to do anything else ever to touch Skywalker again.
God, I hope so.
I really, honestly, truly believe that they're like, great, we've done this, and now we've wrapped this up, and now we can like start to branch out without feeling an obligation or having fans go, but what about this thing? I feel like they can be like, it's done. Go watch the series. Yeah. We're done here, and now we can branch out. I think
because there is another trilogy coming after this that's not related to anything else.
Oh, good. I was like,
in
what?
Any shape or form. Yeah. So it's like I can't remember who's doing it. I don't know if it's Rian Johnson or whatever. But you also got the writers of Game of Thrones who are set in for like a 6-movie deal or something like that they're going to be writing. So hopefully
they don't get a better offer come movie 6. Because they're going to fucking just tank it.
There is more on the way that I look forward to get a fresh start.
There's another... Disney Plus is fucking putting out a shitload of original content. I mean, a metric fuck ton. And there is a spin-off Star Wars series that I've heard that they're going to be releasing. And it takes place in the Rancor Pit.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's basically...
Hey, nice reference of the Rancor Pit. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
For someone who hasn't watched this in a while, well done.
It's basically just an all-out just battle royale in the Rancor. It's going to be really... I think they're going to save it for Hulu because it's not family friendly.
That sounds good.
Because one person in every episode dies.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The thing is they have not come up with the title yet.
I think I got it.
What is it?
That's Wookiee for Throwdown! Nerds!
So,
I already got a contender for this fucking fly.
So it's going to be the fly versus Doug. This fly has just been foot fucking Doug, just with his little feet
my God.
all over Doug today.
I will challenge this fly to a duel.
Doug is really not having a good episode. So I want to keep it in the Star Wars family.
Okay.
Why
not?
Right?
They're doing it, so why don't we?
We did Han Solo versus Indiana Jones in a previous episode with Mr. Tex. I want to put Han Solo back into the ring.
Okay.
And I want to have him go against Poe.
In what way? Are we talking like star fighting? We talking like fist fighting?
Yep.
Both?
Sure.
Different things?
So here's the thing. It's a multi-round throwdown. Round 1 starts in Starfighters.
And then
whoever wins gets
clone.
Right, exactly. They get an advantage once it comes to the fisticuffs round.
Okay. Doesn't make sense when you get an advantage.
Sure. So you've earned the advantage. Okay. A loser doesn't earn advantages. A loser earns death.
It's interesting because
so let's do a 2-round throwdown. Let's put them in Starfighters first.
Well, we've seen the full extent of what Poe can do in a fighter, and I mean, I feel like Poe's got Solo like done. Like I feel like Poe would absolutely outdo him.
Poe's got Solo.
I think because in Episode 7 you see Poe like single-handedly go in and just annihilate a shit ton of New Order guys. Yeah. You see him do the same thing like at the beginning of Episode 8. He's fighting people nonstop.
I was going to say, we've seen Han at least come in and help with the when they were doing the trench run. But
now, Han is definitely a decent pilot.
If you smuggler. If you watched Solo, you would know.
He's a smuggler, not a fighter.
Ooh, well played. Well played.
He's good at it. I think he would definitely put up a pretty evasive fight, but can the Millennium Falcon stand up to the Poe's fighter? I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, it survived a lot of other things. It survived the Battle of Endor, the Death Star 2. So, I mean, it's a usable ship, but I just don't know if it's as nimble.
I would have to say that Poe again, Poe's a trained fighter, a trained fighter pilot. Like I just think Poe he's got what it takes. I also think Poe is fearless, and I think Han has definitely displayed Han is very self-preserving. Poe will go in for the kill. Yeah. And Han will do what needs to be done, but Poe doesn't hesitate. Agreed. So he'll go straight in. So if it's a winged fight, then I'm gonna give it to Poe.
I agree.
Now if they're on the ground, no blasters, just fisticuffs.
Oh man, I think Han is gonna outdo him on that because we don't see Poe doing a lot. Like we've seen him
I don't see Han doing a lot,
do we? Well, here's the thing. Here's what we know about Han. Han's fucking crafty.
All right.
He's a crafty fucker. And I see him, he uses his surroundings.
He's got the bumper sticker, crafty fucker, on when they're talking. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And while Poe, again, we see him at the beginning of episode 7. He sets up, he's firing his blaster at the First Order before he gets caught by Kylo Ren and things like that. But we don't see him do a lot of physical hand-to-hand sort of stuff. Whereas Han, we watch him punch people like the best of them. And I just feel like Poe will do the same thing. He'll take the same approach. He'll just sort of like bull charge in. Whereas Han will probably wait. He's the kind of guy that like lets him punch and then he finds that opening and knocks him out.
So Han's gonna watch. He's gonna observe.
Han's gonna taunt him and he's gonna put him on tilt, and then Han's gonna get him where he wants him, and then he's gonna deck him and just put him out.
Okay, all right.
He's gonna punch. He's gonna sucker punch him.
Yeah. But you don't think that Poe, in his training, also went through hand-to-hand combat training?
I'm sure he did to some degree, but we don't see it showcased anywhere is the thing.
So again, you're going based off of not assumptions, based off of what we see.
Yeah, I can assume that the rebels taught him how to do some sort of fighting and whatnot, but I just assume we've seen Han act, and a lot of his stuff has been beyond blaster fights. He punches freaking stormtroopers in the face with their helmets and like flips them around and he's all about that stuff, and he's also really good at sort of like, I wouldn't say setting up traps, but he can, in episode 4, he taunts all those stormtroopers to get them to follow him and think like he's crafty. He's a crafty dude.
Yeah, I gotta give it to it. Also, he's probably he has spent more time in the seedy underbelly being a smuggler. So I would say he's probably got a little bit more real world.
Yeah.
In the sense that sure, Poe's been in like actual war, but Han has seen some really shady shit and has had to survive. So he's got that survivor 100%.
Instinct. He is going to taunt Poe. He's going to just do all sorts of stuff. He's going to get in Poe's head.
He's going to use everything he has at his disposal.
He's going to be like, listen here, kid. You're an okay pilot, but I've seen my fair share of stuff in the galaxy. I've been from one end of the galaxy to the other. You don't scare me.
I made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
You don't scare me, kid. Right. He's gonna call him kid.
Get off my plane.
He's gonna really gonna just poke at him and pose. We've seen that Poe loses his composure very easily.
Sure.
So he's a hothead. So I think Han's gonna exploit that and put him on the ground.
Okay, so we're saying if it's a winged fight, Poe for the win.
Yes.
And if it's hand to hand, Solo for the win.
Exactly.
Done. And that's it, guys. That's how you do a throwdown.
That's how you do it. Before we go any further, I want to do this at the top of the show, but I want to do it right now. I want to do a special shout out to Mr. Noah Reno.
Oh my God.
Pilot FX.
Oh my God.
I forget anything else, maybe 7. We have it listed somewhere. His Twitter handle. He made us an amazing animated intro for our logo.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely spectacular. I started using it on our YouTube videos, so you can catch it there. But that guy joined us last week, was on Twitch, said he was a visual arts guy. He's like, hey, send me your logo and the intro stuff, and I'll make something for you. And he did. It's fucking amazing.
Yes.
I love it. Go check it out. We have it posted on our social medias. It's absolutely amazing. Noah, Mr. Reno, you're fucking great. Thank you for doing that.
Huge thank you. It blew us away when we saw it.
Yeah.
I tried to jump on Twitter real quick just to see if I could figure out the handle. And you've seen the 404 forbidden messages? I got a 403, and it says, the server understood the request, but is refusing to fulfill it.
It's like, fuck you.
I have never felt so dissed by a goddamn machine.
Like, how dare you?
Here we go. I got this right here. We are going to go on here, and we're going to go boop, 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 back. And we're seeing, Piper Pilot FX.
Piper Pilot FX.
That's
totally
what it
got
is.
that wrong. Yeah. Piper Pilot FX.
Yes.
At Twitter. Check him out. He's a really cool dude.
Yes. And a huge thank you.
Nice. Yes, absolutely. Justin, what do you have to recommend this week?
Oh my goodness. What have I watched? I don't know.
It's okay, bud.
I don't know.
It's okay. Can't have something every week.
I said the book already.
Yeah.
I said that show.
Mm-hmm.
Watching The Boys. That's good.
Nice. It is a good.
It's real good.
Way to go, bud.
I'm liking it.
Way to go.
Hank keeps recommending something on the Hill. What's the
On the Hill?
Showtime on the Hill. City on the Hill. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's a Showtime thing with it was executive producer by Ben Affleck, of course, because it's set in Boston. Kevin Bacon, Jonathan Tucker, Jill Hennessy, a bunch of Kevin Bacon's the big name in it. But it's a crime drama.
I feel like I've heard someone talk about this.
There's a few episodes they said
it was only one person.
It was Heg, and they've said there's a couple episodes that are a little slower, but all in all, he recommends it.
Cool.
So I would say by proxy, maybe check that out, but don't hold me accountable if it sucks.
All right, there you go. Justin said it. It's 100%.
Yep, on Rotten Tomatoes.
On Rotten Tomatoes. I just started checking out this. Well, first of all, if you haven't listened to Wolverine podcast, the 2 seasons.
Shit, I got to get back on
Oh
that.
my God. The first one is The Long Night. The second one is, I don't know. I forget what the season's called, but season 2 is excellent.
It's a less long night.
It's coming to a close, and it's so fucking good. But based on that, I got a recommendation for Don't Play That, Please. That's not what I wanted. It's called Dark Dice.
Okay.
And what it is, it's from the people who do The White Vault, if anyone has listened to that. That's a horror drama podcast, which is interesting. But basically, these same folks, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, but they narrate it and they sound design it, so it's like a story.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome. It's horror-based, and it's really well done. It's called Dark Dice. If you're interested in, if you've ever been like, man, I don't know what it's like for Dungeons and Dragons, this is a nice sort of like dip your toes in it and get to hear people really role play with amazing music, sound design, and everything. It's fucking great. Right. And they take out a lot of the boring stuff that bogs you down, like combat, which can take you 20 to 30 minutes to get through it. They simplify it. And they'd be like, Doug the dwarf takes a swing and he missed, and then the bad guy bashed him into the stomach and he fell to the ground knowing that his ribs have been broken, as opposed to roll. Oh, fuck, I missed. How much damage do I take? And it's a really cool story.
Yeah.
So I check it out, The Dark Dice. Really good. It's I think it's just starting at season 2, so it's pretty cool. I like it. I'm a couple episodes in.
There's a podcast for everybody.
It's amazing what these guys can do. I was like, that's really cool. So
dig it. Dig it.
Speaking of digging it, guys, check us out on all our social medias. We're at Mind Gap Podcast. Also, don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Look for our channel there. That's where we do Doug Watches Awkward Videos, Justin Plays Video Games, as well as catching all of our recent episodes there, as well as we're starting to release our backlog on there as well. So if you don't want to, you want to check us out on YouTube, you can do so there as well, which is pretty exciting. Also, you can email us at mindgappodcast@gmail.com. If you want to communicate with us at all or for anything like that. And also, digitally, Justin exists as 0s and 1s.
On Instagram and Twitter, at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It is the fun way of spelling it while you're in the all-men realm. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on
Spotify,
and on Google Podcasts. Wherever podcasts are sold, you can like us, subscribe to us, share us around, review us, rate us, all those good things. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap is where we exist on the 2 East 8th page, and you can find all our episodes there as well. Lots of ways to get a hold of us, lots of ways to listen to us, and then keep in mind that 2 East 8th has a bunch of really cool projects we're working on, so please be on the lookout for that.
Very cool. Thank you all for listening. Twitch, thank you for listening. Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
You're the best.
Around?
Never going to let you down.
Close.
Nice. See you next week.
Mind Gap Podcast.